Hello, everybody. We're expecting a few more people, so we'll just give them a minute or so to filter in. As with the last session, this is being recorded so that people who can't be here live can watch a little bit later on. If you don't want to feature in the recording, that's actually absolutely fine. You can just keep your camera off and contribute anything that you want to by putting into the chat. Caroline is going to be from Crowdfunder is going to be taking the lead for most of this session,
Hi
and
everyone.
she's got a PowerPoint to share with you. But at any point, please do put questions in the chat, and we'll work our way through them as we go. Cool. Over to you, Caroline.
Hi everyone, lovely to see you all tonight. So I'm Caroline, I work for Crowdfunder. I'm one of the charity marketing consultants, and I've got lots of years experience working in the charity marketing sector. And I'm going to lead on this webinar today. So talking about how we can help you promote your crowdfunding page once you are set up and ready to go. So first off, we've got two webinars that we already recorded, and they are available on the Brass Bands England website.
Yeah, I'm just.
Would you mind putting everybody on mute, because there's a little bit of background interference?
I think they are now.
Thank you. Perfect. Good. Don't want to just detract. So we've got two webinars that we already ran previously about setting up your page, so please do check those out. And we're potentially going to run another one, so watch this space. When we go live, the URL for the campaign is crowdfunder.co.uk/brassbands. It's going to sort of look and feel similar to last year, but obviously it's got a different message. So the projects that are live will appear in a grid underneath the main messaging. So as and when your crowdfunding page goes live and you start raising money, you will start to appear. We are going to be launching a soft launch on the 17th of November, with the whole thing kicking off on the 19th. And running for 4 weeks. So what we're saying is use the next 2 and a bit weeks to really get your page ready, but also think about how you're going to promote it, because you can set your page up, but if you don't sort of put some effort into it and put a bit of marketing into it, promotion, nobody's going to know your page exists, and therefore they won't be able to come and donate to you. So whilst both Crowdfunder and Brass Bands England will be putting in some support for the overall campaign, it's very much up to you to get your page noticed by your supporters and your local area. So we're suggesting that you can, use the next 2 weeks to really focus on how you want to promote that page. And obviously this webinar will hopefully give you some tips on how you do that. So we've got a sort of 6-part presentation. So you do your preparation, create your plan, select your promotional plan. One thing we advise is to have the first 10 pledges lined up before you go live. So get your first 10 donations in, whether that's from, your family, your friends, local community, so that when your page goes live, it already looks like you're raising money. Because what Crowdfunder does is it takes, looks at your target and looks at how much you've raised and gives a percentage of how close you are to your target. So if you've already raised some money when you go live, it looks good and people go, oh, they're actively fundraising, great. So if you can get those first 10 pledges lined up before your page actually goes live, and then on the day it goes live, which is why we've got that 2-day sort of window of soft launch, then they can go online, pledge to you, and then when it launches to the public, bingo, you've got pledges already. So it looks great. It's also a potentially good idea to plan some sort of launch event, virtual, but obviously now we're all potentially back in the room together. We could also do a face-to-face launch event. I know some of you are now performing and you've got plans in the run-up to Christmas. So a virtual or a in real life launch event would be great. Get those people who support you regularly to bring their friends and family, put on a spread, play some music, get people to donate. I've got some ideas in the presentation about how you can utilize those physical events to actually get those donations in. Obviously, we want you to promote through all of your channels. So I've got some tips on channels that you can use. And in the back end of Crowdfunder, for those of you who haven't used it before, we provide you with a project dashboard, which gives you lots of information about how your project is performing. So by engaging with your dashboard, basically going in and having a look, it'll tell you what's working. So it'll give you traffic, who's come on to your page via Facebook, who's come onto your page via other, the other websites, who's come onto your page via PR. So it's a good way of tracking what's working, and therefore you can put more effort into the things that are working for you. So that's the kind of overall picture of what we would like you to think about over the next couple of weeks. One thing that Crowdfunder is all about is about mapping your network or mapping your crowd, identify who your crowd are. Obviously, those of you who've been in existence for a long time will have, seasoned supporters who come and see you regularly. They know who you are. They are the first people you're going to go out to when you're fundraising. Also your friends and family, because they know how vested you are in your band. They know how engaged you are. Again, they're ones who you're going to reach out to first and foremost. But obviously, to help you raise as much money as possible, you can't rely on that pool of existing supporters forever. So think about the wider audience, the wider community that you can potentially get in touch with. So this is what we call, this is why we say map your network out before you go live. So, as soon as your page goes live, you can go out to those new people and say, we're running this fundraiser. We really want to keep going. We're raising money for whatever it might be, for a specific reason, or just to keep going, and tell that story. And again, it's really important that when you're thinking about creating your page, you're telling that story. Obviously, you're all musicians, how to tell a story through music. So when you're writing the words for your page, tell that story. Why is it so important that why is this fundraiser so important for your band? Is it to keep you going over the long term? Is it to recruit new members? Is it to get engaged with the local youth community? Is it to provide new instruments or new memberships for people who maybe can't afford it, new uniforms, whatever it might be? Tell that story and really tug on the heartstrings, because that's what it's all about. That's what charities do every day. They really get into the emotion of why people should be supporting them, and there's no different for you as a band. Music's a great emotional, creates great emotion anyway. So, use that power to really get in front of your audience, and use all of these channels to tell that story, and make people go, yeah, I really need to support this band. They're so important. So we suggest that once you've sort of mapped that network out, so thinking about all the local and regional press, the social media channels, your local businesses, as I said, your existing supporters, your new ones, map it out into a sort of plan. So don't start it all at once, because you'll run out of steam very quickly. So what we suggest is you plan a 4-week campaign. So you get everything set up and ready. You've told your story, you've got your page set up, you know who you're going to go out and talk to, and then use this planner to sort of start putting those messages out there. So start with your team, start with your band. Some of you are large, you've got lots of members, some of you are a bit smaller, but every single one of those band members has a network, large and small. They've got families, friends, they've got colleagues at work, they've got people they go to church with, they've got, people in their local street. Use them to get this message out there, because that will help you reach a new audience. Obviously, there's your family of friends and existing supporters, but then start thinking about the wider network, your partners, the social media channels that you run, local people, local businesses, the local press is really important. So just think about, plan it out, and then you can just tick it off as you go along. So week 1, yep, sent an email to all our existing supporters. Week 2, we've talked to our partners, we've put it on social. Week 3, we're going out to our local businesses, etc. So just plan it, because then that means you're not in a big sort of crazy rush when it all launches. You know what you're doing, you planned it in advance, you know what story you're telling, and then that will help you be as successful as possible. Again, this is very basic. for those of you who've done this before, but for those of you who haven't, there's we've got lots of templates that in the presentation and on the Crowdfunder website that you can utilize to help you do these plans. So think about how many people do you know whose email addresses you have, how many business emails do you have, how many people follow you on Facebook, etc. So plan that out, use that as a kind of, which is our priority audience, because if you've only got 2 followers on Twitter, don't use Twitter, focus on Facebook where you've got 1,000 followers. So, focus on the things that are going to get you the biggest reach quickly. And if you know that you've got supporters or local businesses, again, who they've got big networks, it's all about that sort of broadening out that network. If you know that they know people, they've got large networks, prioritize them early on. So, because they're the ones who are going to help you amplify the message, not quickly, and get those donations rolling in. So that's why we've sort of got this number of people. Identify how big these audiences are and focus on the ones that are going to get you the most reach. And what we do find on Crowdfunder is that the average donation goes up from about £50 to £500 if you get individuals fundraising for you. So we have a thing, it's called multiplier, but it's basically the ability to allow people who to fundraise on your behalf by sharing your page. So your page sits up here, and then underneath your page, you can have multiple individual fundraisers all raising money for you. The money goes directly for you, so they don't have to worry about collecting cash or processing anything. People can come straight onto the Crowdfunder website and donate to you through their individual fundraising. If you've got rewards, so I'll talk in a bit more detail about rewards in a minute. They can also sell those rewards to their network as well. So it's another good opportunity for them, to spread the word. Obviously, as I said, all the funds raised will contribute to your overall target. And you can give prizes for who's raised the most and make a bit of a competition about it. So that, they could do anything from, playing for 24 hours, fancy dress, do a venue crawl, anything to make it fun, but, run a marathon with a clarinet on the back, whatever it is, make it, they can make it as fun and interesting as they want to do in order to raise money for you. And you can just sit back and hopefully let those donations come in. So before I move on to social media, so rewards, on Crowdfunder, you can have a standard donation page. So that just allows you to, raise or collect, a donation of £10, £20, £50, whatever. What we find is that people on average will give more if you incentivize that donation. So, for example, they might be tempted to give you £10, but if you say, give us £50 and you can have 2 tickets and a program to our next performance, they'll probably give you £50. Or it could be, come to a private performance, give us, £100, we'll do a private performance for you. It could be, give us £500 and you can come and sing in front of us for a night, or anything you like. You can be as creative as you like, but by offering those rewards, it gives people, I guess, more of an incentive and more motivation to donate, because they're getting something in return. And that may sound a little bit self-serving, but unfortunately, that seems to be the way that the charity market is going at the moment. People like to get something in return. So it could be anything, as as I said, small as you like, up to something, exciting like a meet and greet or a money cart via private performance. If you know people, so if you've got local businesses who can donate things to you, even better. And I guess the best thing would be if you know anybody who is famous or infamous in the area, who potentially might want to donate something, or merchandise, or again, a meet and greet or a photo opportunity. Again, that's all something you can use on your page to create excitement and to create the motivation for people to give. Social media. So obviously, we talk about social media a lot. We know it is a really key channel for people to get involved quickly, to engage with you, and it gives them a good if you promote your page through social, it's a nice clean journey for them to click on a link and go and donate to you via your page. Various social media channels do different things, so it doesn't matter if you're not on all of them. If you know you've got a really engaged Facebook community, focus on Facebook. If you're younger than me and are into TikTok, then by all means, it's a really good way of getting people engaged, because it's great for video, and anybody who's performing, it's a great channel for getting that message out there. You can, I know you're you know your bands, but you can use LinkedIn to get in front of local businesses or local business people. Instagram is great for video and photos. So if you've got, you know, because you perform all the time, lots of engaging photos and video, which will really engage with people. So obviously that's probably a bit small to read, but when you get the presentation afterwards, this will tell you sort of how to focus your individual social posts on each of these channels and kind of what they're good for. Obviously, when you create your social content, it's good to kind of mix it up a bit. So, you know, each day, post something a bit different. You can tell your story. You don't have to tell it all at once. You can focus on individual bits of your story, focus on individual band members, focus on people you've, you know, supported before. You know, or focus on why people are in your band, or why people come and watch you, what they get out of experiencing the music that you create. So all that sort of stuff, that's, again, it's back to that emotional tugging on the heartstrings stuff. Use that for your social messaging. We have a hashtag, brass bands at Christmas, so make sure you use that on each post, because that will help us amplify the message out, and then people who are looking at posts under that hashtag will see you, and it's a good way of reaching a much broader audience than just your existing supporters. If you've got, as I said, relevant influencers, and I don't mean those people on Instagram, I mean, you know, genuine people who are engaged with your band, who play music, who, you know, have been to see you, who have a big network. Use them. Businesses, local Facebook groups are brilliant. If you haven't already tried them, you know, use the local Facebook groups to help you get that message out there. Tag them in, ask them to spread the word, especially if you've got rewards, because, as I said, people like to get something, and they're more willing to come and donate to you if they've never heard of you, if they can win a ticket to something or win some merchandise. And then obviously, goes without saying, make sure you link to your project page on Crowdfunder with every social post, so that you're making sure that everybody gives you those donations. And I've put in, there's a website called Bitly. It'll shorten the link for you, because the Crowdfunder links are quite long. So if you use those Bitly links, or if you use something, for those of you who may be a bit more experienced, if you use something like Hootsuite, it shortens the links for you. That means that you've got more space in your post, then you can say more stuff rather than taking it up with a big long link. But I can, you know, we can explain that in more detail if it's, excuse me. We will, as we did last year, we'll be promoting or I'll try and get my words right, producing a social media toolkit for you this year. So we will have social media branded assets. So pictures like this, stock imagery with the hashtag on. I created this myself. I'm not the best designer, so we will create something a little bit more professional for you. So we'll have imagery that you can use, so you don't even need to create your own. You can just upload them to Facebook and off you go. We'll also provide you with some copy. So if you're not not confident about writing, we'll provide you with some copy for an email, for a press release, for some social posts, so that you could just utilize that, tailor it, put your band's name in, and off you go. You don't need to spend the time worrying about how to write. We will give you that. But obviously, if you've got people in your band or people in your team who know how to do this, or maybe they do it for a living, utilize them, find those experts and help them get that message out for you. Email. So we've talked a lot about social. Email is still a really powerful tool, especially for, I mean, maybe not so much for the younger generation, but, you know, people still use it. We want to make it personal. So if you've got email addresses of people who maybe bought tickets from you in the past or signed up to your newsletter, you know, again, utilize all the channels you've got available. There are tools like MailChimp, which will help you send those messages out, so you're not sort of doing it one-to-one through Outlook. But, you know, and they will help you manage responses and things. So it's quite a good tool to look into if you haven't got it already. Obviously, make sure you follow up. And if you do see people donating to you, say thank you. They will get a message, an automated message through the Crowdfunder platform to say thank you for your donation. But it's also nice to follow it up in person. So, we really appreciate your donation. Thank you so much. Yeah, make it interesting. Again, this is an opportunity to tell your story, case studies, or little stories from your members and your supporters about why it's important. You can also add a link to your project page in your email signature. So if you, if you're using Gmail, you can create an email signature at the bottom of your emails. So every time you send an email, that link is going out to whoever. Also, obviously, make sure if you work full time or you're in employment, put it on the bottom if you're allowed, on the bottom of your work emails, and make sure that everybody is getting that link. Again, all your band members should be doing this, and if you've got supporters and friends and family who are happy to do it as well. I know that obviously some people will have very supportive local businesses. They may work for an organization that is happy to support them as well. So again, that's why I said use the email estate to to your best advantage. So if you've got people emailing who are happy to promote your fundraiser, get that link on there, because it's a really good way of getting in front of lots of new people. Press. So you will all have local press contacts, I'm sure. You'll have local newspapers, obviously online now, lots of news websites in the local area. I live in Nottingham. There's at least 5 local websites, news websites that I'm on, plus there's about 4 different local newspapers and the free newspapers as well as the paid for ones. Think about all of those people that you can target. They are looking for local content. They want to hear from local good causes. That's what makes them tick. So think about all of those local press opportunities and try in your planning phase, as you start thinking over the next couple of weeks, make contact with the editor or the features editor, get in touch with the the websites, and just tee them up, especially if you've got a program, you've already planned your program of events, which I'm sure you have. You've probably booked all your venues. Tee them up, say we're going to be performing on this day, we've got Christmas fundraisers coming up, and let them know so that they will run that story. I'm sure a lot of you will invite your press contacts to your performances. If you're not, it's a good way of showing them what you do. We talk about getting the timing correct. So don't send press releases on a Monday morning or a Friday afternoon, because they probably won't pick them up, especially Friday afternoons. They're done for the week. So it's good time to send them sort of midweek, like Tuesdays, Wednesdays are good. And obviously, if there's been a big local event, big local bad news, for example, probably best not to start bothering people in the middle of that. So, pick your moments if it's quiet time. But as I said, maybe a Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, when they're, thinking about what they're doing for the week, Monday afternoon, maybe. We'll have a press release template for you, so you can reword that, but tailor it to your band's specific story. So why are you specifically fundraising? You'll have lots of photography, I'm quite sure, and links to videos. Attach that to your press release so that they can run the story straight away. They don't need to come back to you and go, oh, have you got an image? Have you got a logo? Can we use this? Can we use that? Send them everything you've got up front, so they don't need to think about it. They can just go, right, brilliant, we've got this story, band of fundraising, we've got an image, we've got their logo, it's in the paper, it's on the website. Don't give them any opportunity to say, oh no, we haven't got the right information. Give it them all up front. They're more likely to run your story then. And obviously, as I said, you'll know people who've shown interest in you before, so reach out to them first. And hopefully you'll be able to get some more reach and amplification for your message that way. What else have we got? For this year, thankfully, we're not all social. Well, we're not hopefully all in a lockdown scenario like we were last year. We have got QR codes on the site now, so you can combine your digital fundraising with face-to-face fundraising and get people donating to your project page through their phone. So when you set up your project page and you log in, you can download a QR code from your project dashboard. QR codes are those little black and white square thingies. Everybody's seen them on the NHS app. That's what they look like. You can print those on posters, programs, tickets, stick them on the front of your music stands if you're out and about. Reach out to your local shops, restaurants, especially if you're performing, reach out and get them to take the posters with the QR codes. Basically how it works is you take your phone, you turn your camera on and you hover over the code, and the Crowdfunder project page, your Crowdfunder project page pops up and it says, would you like to donate? Click, yes, I would. So it's really great opportunity, great tool to have when you're performing live, when you're out and about, you're face to face. It's a great way. So you don't have to handle cash. You don't have to have, actual bucket. Obviously, you can still do that if you want, but it means that people who potentially aren't carrying cash as much as they used to, they might give you 20 quid when previously they maybe put in a couple of pounds. So a really good, useful tool, really easy to use. And obviously it means that in these sort of COVID sensitive times, they don't have to touch anything. You don't have to handle the money. It's a really, really good way of potentially getting a little bit more revenue in. So definitely encourage you to take up the QR code, and it's all free. It's all there ready for you to use. In terms of updates, so when you log into the Crowdfunder platform and look at your page, you'll see a dashboard. It's really quite simple to use. You can provide updates to your supporters as your project page, as the campaign is running. So your project page goes live. If you hit certain milestones, so, hey, we've reached £1,000, thank you very much, or, oh, we've got this new reward, or we're just announcing our latest performance, use the updates tool to talk to all your supporters, because that will, especially those who've maybe donated early, it'll remind them that they donated to you 2 weeks ago and might spur them on to go, oh, I remember that, I'm going to share it with, share it on Facebook. So it's a good way of just sort of engaging with your supporter audience, appreciating them, saying thank you, but also potentially reminding them that you exist, that they've donated, and they might go and, again, motivate them into sharing your page. So, and as we said, 84% say it's important that they receive updates. So do use that tool. So this is the project dashboard. So it will show you how much money you've raised on a daily basis against your target. It'll give you, so when you create your page, for those of you who haven't done this before, it'll ask you to set a target, and it'll ask you to set a stretch target. So if you meet your target before the campaign ends, your project doesn't close, it'll then go, oh, we've got a stretch target. So you might set your target at £1,000, you might set your stretch at 3, and then once you've reached 1,000, the platform will automatically go, oh, great, we've got a £3,000 stretch target, don't stop donating. This dashboard will show you how near you are to both those targets. It'll show you the number of pledges, how much you've raised, if it's gift aided, or etc, etc. So useful tool, and it's quite easy to use. And you can also download that information as well and share it with people. As I said at the beginning, using the dashboard to help you with your promotion, because it will tell you what's working. So it'll show you where people have donated through Facebook, through the Crowdfunder platform, through Google, through news outlets. So if the newspaper has printed the URL, it will tell you how many people have donated from there. So you can start using that as a good tool to help you, do more of that in the future. So if Facebook's working for you, keep doing it. You could also use there's in the back end of the platform, in the project dashboard, you can create what we call bespoke URLs. So you've obviously got crowdfunder.co.uk/your band name. What you can do is create different URLs for different channels. That will help you measure. So you can have one for Facebook, one for Twitter, one for the press, one for your email signatures. And then when people click through those links, it'll show up on your project dashboard and you go, oh, 5 people have clicked through our email signatures. Brilliant, that was worth doing. So use that, all that functionality that's available to you, and put it on all your channels, and that will help you track and measure what's working well for you. Again, you can see who's visiting your page as well. So that will show you, peaks and troughs of the visits to your page. We do say that projects tend to, the reason why we've set it for 4 weeks, because we know from experience that 4 weeks is a really good maximum fundraising period. And we know that there is a sort of U-shaped in terms of fundraising. So we know that when your project goes live and people start donating, it'll go up, then it'll tail off slightly as we go through the middle, and then it'll increase again towards the end. Obviously, the way you communicate, you want to try and flatten that U-shape as much as possible, so you've got a good, nice line of donations coming in. But this platform project page will help you identify those peaks and troughs. So I've done a lot of talking. I'm where I've been talking for nearly half an hour. So in terms of what we've discussed, obviously get your network behind you, get your network's network behind you. Think about how you're going to reach them. Think about the story you're going to tell them that will make them go, yeah, definitely going to support you this year, and how you can build those relationships to reach that much bigger audience. Obviously use those channels we've talked about: social, email, press, blogs, and obviously QR codes now. Keep in touch with your supporters, keep them updated so that they know what a great job you're doing and how important this is to you, and use the dashboard to help you look at what's working and target more effectively. So what's next? This is how it's going to work. Brass Bands England will send around this presentation. So I've been talking for a long time. You can look at it at your leisure. We will also send you next week a little pack, the toolkit, that will have the imagery and the copy for social media and the planning tools. Obviously, this webinar is being recorded, so that will be available on the Facebook page. Please join the Facebook group. We've got a dedicated Brass Bands at Christmas Facebook group. We will be sharing stories, putting new tips in there, keeping you motivated, sharing, what's working, other bands that are doing great things. We can share all those stories and get you all, motivated and to keep, make your fundraisers as successful as possible. As I said, we'll also share the press release that Brass Band England are working on so that you can tailor that for your own local press and websites. And take what we've learned and spoken about tonight and share it with your band. Get them inspired, because they are obviously your biggest ambassadors. They, play with you for a reason. So get them inspired, get them to be sharing it, sharing all this stuff across their social medias. Get them to talk to their employees, their employers, or their employees, their friends, their family, etc., local businesses. If you've got individuals in your band who do this for a living or have an interest in this, if you've got band members who are good at writing, get them to write a blog for you. Band members who are good at social, who know how to use TikTok, who are good at Facebook advertising, who or know people who know this stuff, who maybe they are graphic designers in their main jobs. Use all the skills of the people who play for you and all their family and friends to your own advantage, because they will be able to help you get this working as well as possible for you. So I think that's the end of the questions, or the end of the presentation. I am happy to take questions. I'm aware that this was quite basic, so if you've got more in-depth questions you want to ask, please do. And if you'd like to have some sort of further free coaching, please let me or my colleague Georgia know. That's what we're here to do, to make your page as successful as possible. So thank you very much.
I just want to, while we've got everyone here, there's been a handful of questions in the chat, which has just been really good. And I think for the benefit of everyone, but also the people who are watching the recording, it would be really good just to run through those questions. Parky and I have been giving some answers in the chat, but I think it would be really beneficial. So Keith has asked, how do I connect my page to the campaign? So in order to create your page and make sure it's automatically linked, create your page via the Crowdfunder/Brassbands link. That's the best way to do it. If you do go through the main Crowdfunder page and then realise afterwards that it's not linked up, Crowdfunder will be able to do that for you, but it'll save everyone a lot of time if you follow that link first. If you go to the Crowdfunder page or go to the BBE page with all the information on, that's where you can find that. So that's the link to go to. Yeah. Do you want to go, Parky? QR
Yeah.
code?
So the next one was about QR codes. Can people asking, will you be able to use them beyond the period of the crowdfunder? The answer is absolutely yes. You can, at the end of the campaign, you can actually turn your page into an always on page, so it doesn't get to the end of the campaign and you can't take any money. You could actually continue that indefinitely. And that would be a great way in the future or throughout the year, that if somebody does want to give you a donation, you can just show them a QR code and go, there you go, straight away you can go and give that donation. And it's one of the ways that there is a life after the campaign to help your ongoing crowdfunding.
Yeah, and on that note, if you're, because obviously we're talking about brass bands at Christmas, if your messaging is quite Christmas focused, when you turn the page into an always on page, you can change your messaging. The page doesn't need to stay the same. So as Alex said, your QR code is for life, as long as your project page is live, but you can change the imagery, you can change the copy. So if you're going into January or spring or whatever, you don't need to have a Christmas page. It's still linked to the overall Christmas campaign, but your page can be updated with new photos to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And those QR codes, it's really worth thinking about them as your portal to people giving you money. So if you are going out caroling, take the QR code. It's another way for people to donate money. But also, while you're out caroling, take a little video of yourselves doing it, put it on your Facebook, your Instagram, and then make sure you put the QR code image that you've got saved into the comments of that as well, because we all know crowdfunding works on footfall, but if you can get those little videos and your QR codes out into the out to the internet, you've got a much bigger potential footfall than anywhere, even if you've got the best caroling spot in the world.
Yeah.
Definitely. And just to add on to that, because I just noticed Alice's question as well. So the real benefit of using a QR code is that you don't have to get a contactless card reader to take out with you, and that if you wanted to take cashless payments, that would be really your only other option. So if you do want to go down that road to use for your concerts or whatever, there are lots of affordable options out there, like iZettle or SumUp or Square are a few options that you could use. But for right now, this is a way that people with their phones could just click on the camera option, open the QR code, and they can pay through the Crowdfunder platform. So you're not managing a payment platform of your own. So that's the real benefit of it.
And it's all free,
and
so you don't need to pay for anything.
Yes.
And the other thing about QR codes is you can set within the system, there's different ways of setting up your QR codes. So you can either set it up so that it takes people to your Crowdfunder page and they can read all about what you're doing, they could choose rewards, or you can set it up so that it maybe is just a £5 or a £10 donation, and then people that it takes people, rather than through that, it literally takes them straight to the payment window, so they haven't got to click on anything. And it's all about making it really, really quick, and especially if you've got payments set up either with Google Pay or Apple Pay on your phones. Once you get to that, it virtually fills itself out, you press your thumb to it and you've already donated. So it's about as quick as it is to get your wallet out, find some change, throw it in a bucket. And that's really important in how you quickly turn people into donators. But also more important to a certain extent, if they've donated to you on there, they haven't just walked off and you've got nothing to follow up. You've also got their contact details. You can send them information about your concerts. You can send a follow-up thank you and see if they want to become a regular donator and join your patron scheme. So there's a really good way there to start to do to get a little bit more out of people and hopefully reverse some of that drop off in the amount of money that people give in caroling buckets that I suspect lots of you have started to notice.
Yeah. Joanna, I just want to follow up on your question, which is there such a thing as QR codes outside of a crowdfunding project? Yes, absolutely. So this is just a particular way that they're being utilised, but you might want to use them if you're not raising money outside of the situation, so that people could link to more information about the band or get a link to sign up to your mailing list. You can create them for whatever you like. It's just that Crowdfunder have made it really easy, that it's just all inbuilt into the platform and it's already made for you.
Yeah, and you could take the Crowdfunder QR code and stick it on your website so that when people get there, they can then go and give you some money as well. So we've talked about being able to keep your campaign live beyond the official date. Yes, you can. So the 4 weeks is a recommended window. You can extend it. Caroline, can people choose when it ends as they set it up, or is it something they have to request? So you can choose to extend
set
it.
your project end date. Yes.
Yeah, and we run our campaign 17th of November to 17th of December, partly because we don't want to get in the way of anything that you're doing right in that run up to Christmas. But if things are going really well and the news gets in contact with us, we won't just say, oh no, the campaign's ended, we're not going to talk to you anymore. We'll of course kind of keep promoting it while the story's live and people are interested.
And in all likelihood, just from when where Christmas lands this year, it's likely that there is going to be runoff interest into the week of Christmas, if we're honest. It's just the way that it is. Part of the reason that we pick those dates is that our office staff shut down on that day, but me and Parky are still going to be around and available on Christmas week. Should you need anything, or if there is press contact coming in, it's pretty likely that you'll still be doing stuff in that week, and there's going to be other stuff going on. So it's really up to you as to what works best. But that's when we're going to be out pushing campaigning for you, is in that 4 week period.
So, and that kind of moves us on to the next question. I'm going to answer the first bit because I know the answer. So we've had a couple of people ask, what's the difference between soft live and hard live? So as far as your pages are concerned, you just go live. There isn't a difference, but the idea of calling it soft live is that really that soft live is that we go live as individual bands. The campaign won't be too crazy at that point, because the point of our campaign is that once a little bit of money has started to come in, we can go to some of the bigger press outlets and start to say, oh look, brass bands are already raising money, don't you want to report on this because it's successful and it's going to give you a happy feel good story? Whereas if we start from the beginning and, oh, by the way, we've raised nothing, it's a much harder sell for those press. So the hard and soft wording is really an internal thing. Your pages will just go live. And then the follow-up question that I don't know the answer to is, do all the pages go live together, or do you individually need to hit live? Caroline, you can probably help on that one.
No, they'll automatically go live when you specify your go live date. So when you set up your project page, I know you're setting it up under obviously the Christmas campaign banner, but you'll still need to set the date. So make sure you put in the date of the 17th to the 17th, because it's not automatically going to recognize it. So you're in control of the date. So if you want to go live a couple of days earlier, which we've suggested, just to get those pledges in, do that, and then set your end date for the 17th. When you're setting up your page, and we've talked about this always on idea, there is an option to tick a box that says, do you want your project page to continue after your fundraising period? Tick that box. That means your project page doesn't close down. So that's the way to keep going. So you're in control of the dates. Use the dates, obviously, of the campaign that we're all involved with, to make sure you're getting the maximum exposure, and then tick that box to say, yes, I want to keep going after the project finishes.
Yeah, so to be really clear, that's the 17th is the go live date, and that's when you should really be getting your own networks, the people you've lined up to give you those early donations, straight away, get them involved. And then the 19th is when we'll start to put more press releases out, more awareness raising, and you should do the same to start to widen your net as well, so that those kind of first kind of and even social media, it's worth making sure you've got those early donations before you go live on social media, because when people see it on social media, you want them to see what could be deemed success, because people want to support successful projects. So if they can see, oh, it's been live for 1 day and they've already raised this much money, oh, that must, I want to be part of that, give, and off they go.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Really good question from Morris. When you're setting up your project, it asks for a Facebook page. Is this your normal Facebook group or the special one set up specifically for the project? So that's totally up to you. Then the challenge with setting up a completely new page or a new group or whatever specifically for a project, is that you're starting from zero. So people who are engaging with that, you're starting from nothing. Whereas if you're using your normal page that you would use anyway to promote the band, you've already got, you know, a decent, you should have at least some following there that will want to engage in what you're doing. So I would say you're better off using your main page as the one, because you're just creating more work for yourself. If you're going to create a project page for it, 4 weeks isn't a very long time, and you'll have to put a lot of energy into socials to grow that with a decent following when you can be doing lots of other things.
And just to be clear, we're talking about your Facebook page, the band, not the BBE one, and not the hashtag brass bands at Christmas one that we're running. It's the one that you have publicly, so that people can. And mainly it's so that on your Crowdfunder page there'll be a link to your Facebook that will take you across. So it's about where do you want people to go from your Crowdfunder page to your social media, which again, if you're encouraging people to your Crowdfunder page and they get interested about what you're doing and they go to your Facebook page and hit like, then you've got more ongoing support from that person. That's the purpose of it.
Definitely. So the Facebook group link that I put in the chat a little bit earlier on, that's a page for us. That's a support page for you to keep chatting to us and to get feedback from other people in the campaign during the campaign period. That's not a promotional page. That's a help and support page. But I would encourage that you join that as well. Cool. So Rita has been messaging about if she's able to be involved. Rita, I did ask the question earlier on, but Rita's in Canada. Can she still use the platform and still use everything, Caroline?
Yes. Obviously, we've got Crowdfunder Canada now. That's only been set up for a couple of years, but you can join the page, the UK page, set yourself up under the Christmas campaign, because we can, as long as if your supporters are paying by card, then it's not a problem. We'll just process the donation in Canadian dollars. So yeah, it's not a problem. Set yourself up, join in. It's great to have some international influence. Love it.
And Rita, Caroline is going to be far too polite, but she wanted the world to know that her cat is also called Rita.
And was in the background about 10 minutes.
It's the best name in the world.
That's okay. So you're saying don't go to the Canada page, but go to the UK page?
Yeah. You set up your project under the UK Christmas Brass Bands at Christmas page, because otherwise Crowdfunder Canada aren't running this campaign. You'll be all on your own. So come over to the UK website, set up your page.
Come and join us, Rita.
Yeah. And then we'll all come visit you.
If I could get there, I would. Thank you.
No problem.
Bro. And then one from Tracy. If we already have a live page, is it best to close this before opening the new one? Tracy, is that your page from last year that you've still got as an ongoing one? Yeah. Caroline, what would you recommend?
Two schools of thought on this one. I would recommend you set up a new page, because it's a new year, it's a new story, you know, potentially going to sell something, start afresh, I think. I mean, and because obviously the money that you've raised last year is obviously still showing on your project page. And if you want to, meet a new target, if you've got a new fundraising ask, I would potentially create a new page and link it. Yeah.
Created ready. So it was just whether we shut the other one down before we open up the new one. Then have
you don't need to. You don't need to shut it down. But create a new page under the new Christmas banner, as it were.
Yeah, the advantage of keeping the old one live is if you have got any links hidden in the internet somewhere, or and somebody somehow finds their way back across to the old page, they can still donate. So you wouldn't be losing out on donations if they got over to it and it then said, "Oh, this one's finished," and you wouldn't want that. Yeah, so,
but definitely, absolutely, Alex. We'd never recommend you shut a project page down, just in case. But yeah, start your page afresh with the new campaign, and it's a chance to tell a new story.
And I think that drive of having a new target will help get more donations, especially if it's people that have already donated last year. They may come back again.
Yeah, and also you don't want people to think you've already raised loads of, I mean, we obviously say we want people to raise some money before your page goes live, but if you've already reached a significant target, people are going to be less likely to donate to you. Going, oh, you've already got loads of money. You don't want people to know that you raised loads last year, get them to think you need the money again, which you do. So that's why we say start with a fresh new target.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Thank you so much for your questions, everyone. They're really, really useful, and it's really good to see that you're
Brilliant.
thinking about how the pages are going to work, thinking about the practicalities of it. Those of you who haven't started setting up your pages yet, please do that sooner rather than later. Log onto the platform, have a feel around for it, make sure you know what's required. Caroline is keeping the BBE team up to date with who started creating their pages on the back end. If you want feedback on your pages, just let us know. So either post in the Facebook group or drop Jess an email. I'll make sure that her email is in the chat as well, and she'll be able to route around all of us and get back some feedback for you. The more people you can get to have an eye on your page, is the better, because it's not something that we'd, as with most things, recommend that you try and do all by yourself, because you've got a pool of people around you with all sorts of expertise and insights that can help you out. So use them, even if it's just please can you just have a look at what I've done. That's still really, really useful.
Sorry, one final question that I've had.
Yeah.
About how to upload MP3s to the page.
Yes. I don't think you can is the answer. If what we will accept is a video, so if you host the MP3 on YouTube, you can link through to the YouTube video, as it were, but you can't upload the MP3 directly, and that's mainly because they're really huge files. So it sort of slows everything down. So if you put the MP3 on YouTube and then maybe just put an image over the top of it, then you can link through to the YouTube page, play the music, and then people can hear you.
Yeah, I think it's worth saying you can quite easily embed YouTube videos onto your pages, and you'll probably get more people looking and listening if you put that MP3 onto YouTube with a nice selection of photos of the band, maybe some things that you've been up to. You could even put a little bit of messaging. You could even sneak your QR code in there. So those things as well. With it, it's probably a better way to utilize that MP3 than just uploading it as a file on its own.
Indeed, yeah.
Definitely. Right, folks, then now is your last chance to get any questions. So if there's anything you've thought of that you want to ask, now's your time to shout. But as I said, this isn't the final time that you're going to get questions, have the chance to ask us questions. There's the deck that I'll send around from Caroline. We'll have her contact details in if you want to book in a coaching session with her or George, but also the Facebook group. We're all available for that.
Oh, Joanna's asked again, do you provide QR codes outside of this campaign? I'm not sure I quite understand what you're asking, Joanna.
So I think I do. So if you want to set up a QR code, but not through that back end, there's loads of sites that will do it really easily. So just Google create QR code, and there'll be lots of places that you'll be able to do that. But there'll be some that are kind of tied in, that it'll only be live for a certain period, and lots of stuff like that. So if you are going to join the Crowdfunder back end, I'd recommend that you use that one, just for that reason, that you just know it's secure and will last.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Any other last questions?
Brill. The only other thing that I wanted to finish on was that we were the team were just talking before we came live, thinking that we'll probably do another coaching session. Something that we thought might be useful is digging into into software and platforms that you can use for social media in particular, and email marketing. So if that's something you think would be useful, or there's something else that you would rather us do a short coaching session on, again, just bob either Jess or Caroline an email about what your ideas are, what you would like specific support on, and we'll make that happen kind of either just before the campaign launches or in the first week or so, to help you along with anything you need really, really specific support on. So just let us know what would be best for you.
Yeah, now that you're all crowdfunding experts,
You're good
we
to
want
go.
to know what you need next as your learning journey.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Great. Thanks so much, guys. Wonderful to
Sorry,
see you. Oh yeah,
this is
Rita, go.
totally off. Sorry, it's totally off topic, but can I have 2 seconds of your time after
Yeah,
we
of course you
close
can,
this
my love.
out?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely
it's quicker to talk than emailing across the ocean.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's fine. Good luck, everyone.
Yes,
Start
good luck.
creating your pages. We want to see them, and we want to see previews so that we can help you out on them. We're all going to raise loads of money, and it's all going to be amazing. So, good luck.
Yeah, good luck, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good
Hopefully
luck.
see you soon.
Brill.
Thank you
Take
very
care.
much. Thank you.
Bye.